Hello. In this video, I'm going to briefly introduce comma-separated values. I use the word introduce. You've surely at least seen .csv files in your adventures in programming and data analytics so far. You might not have sort of asked broad questions about what these files are, but they are lists of values separated by commas. They're actually text documents. That last point might be a little surprising to some students, because most computers have built-in default software that will parse CSV files as spreadsheets. So there's a movie review site, Letterboxd. They let you export lists of the movies you've watched and the reviews you've written and all that stuff, and they do it as a bunch of CSV files. And if I click this CSV file, slight technical hitch. If I open this CSV file, you see it opens in a spreadsheet app in Excel, just like I said. But behind the scenes, this is just a bunch of comma-separated values. I'm going to close this. I am going to tell my computer that I want to look at this as a text file. And now when I open it, exactly what I said it should be. Every one of the rows in the spreadsheet is really a date, comma name, comma year, comma URL. Now, one thing we should say about CSV documents is that CSV documents have no schema enforcement, and that can sometimes cause errors. And we'll talk about this more when we get to data cleaning pipelines and handling errors. For now, let's just make sure we all understand what this statement means. So back to this CSV. We can look at this up here, and this is defining a schema. We'll talk more about schemas later, but this is clearly telling us we ought to have 4 columns, and this first column should be a date, this second column should be a name, this third column should be a year, this fourth column should be a URI. But there's nothing in the CSV document that is enforcing any of this. So if I take this date and I delete it, and I replace it with sometime last year. And now let me pause this while I do the busy work. And now I go to a CSV file reader. I go to Excel and I say, show me this CSV file. You see this date is not a date anymore. It's a text string. So that's what we mean when we talk about schema enforcement. There's supposed to be a date here, but nothing about the CSV format forces there to be one. And we can totally break these very easily. For example, returning to this, as the plain text document it really is, if I take one of these titles and just add a few random commas in, and then view this using Excel, well, you can see what's happening. Now, this one word is in the name column. Shadows has been shifted over to year. Strays has been shifted over to letterbox URI. And this, it's a little, this we can now see has been shifted over to a completely new column. Now, CSV files are older than I am, and they're used by everyone. I mean, they're used by government, they're used by private industry. So if things like Python, for example, are very good at dealing with CSV files. Things like Excel are very good at dealing with CSV files. It may not look like it because I intentionally broke this document. But you see questions like, what happens if the movie title has a comma in the name? That's a solved problem. It's not breaking the CSV because of these quotation marks. So, be that as it may, you do sometimes run into problems just because there is no schema enforcement. If something goes wrong in the CSV file, it doesn't raise errors for you. And if you import it into Python, those errors just get quietly imported. So again, once we get to data cleaning and data cleaning pipelines, we'll ask questions like, how can we write a program that ensures we have the right number of columns and everything in the first column that's supposed to be a date really is a date and not a text string?